Sets down. We locked in.
Yep, I'm ready.
Greens all around. I see 2 greens and I see 3 greens. And I see the green screen. So that means we're ready to go. All right, we got 3s, we got 2s, and we got 1s. That means the show has begun. Say Something family, welcome back. Sorry for the little break. As you know, life happens, and we always let life happen. So we are back, excited. Tons of sports has happened. Every time we take a little break, there's always a lot to go over. As you can see, we have our special guest back, Arick, all the way up or down from Sac, however you want to word that.
Been a minute.
Yeah, he slid through to give a little off-season outlook, to give a little past, looking back, and a little bit of the vantage point of the future for the Kings, as Mitch and I do for the Warriors, week in and week out.
He said he's had too much. It's been too long since he's talked about him. It's bottling up inside him. He needs to say something.
Right.
Get it out. Get it out. Gotta say something. And it's a lot to say.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
So he'll have his own segment. So for all you Kings fans, be ready. And as we said, we'll have that as we lead up towards this season again. We will have Arick paying visits and making sure all you Kings fans are getting what you need. So for you Sacramentoians, I'm saying, don't worry, we got what you need as well. Before we get anything started, as you guys know, if you've been watching on the Say Something channel, we like to do our check-ins before we get into anything too crazy. So please take the time, look to your right, look to your left, check in with the people who are near and dear to you. If they're not near to you, go ahead and send them a text. You never know when it might make a difference. So Mitch, and then we'll go to Arick. Mitch first, how you doing? How are things? Tell the people.
Man, like you said, we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but we're back. I'm excited. Just been working hard. Been at the job a whole lot, keeping me extra hours, but I'm happy to be back here talking sports because this is where I'd rather be. Everything's cool with the family and stuff so far, but I'm just ready to be here with y'all. I'm happy and ready to talk sports.
Let's cook. Arick, how you doing? Let the people know.
Hey, man, it's been a minute, so a lot has changed from, last time I was here. Did get a new promotion at the job, so, always got to get some more cheddar coming in. We always love that.
Yes, we do.
So, been doing with that, been at my pop's house, kicking it with him heavy lately, just kind of chopping it up with him as he's, getting older. So that's been, a blessing for myself. That's being able to connect and reconnect and get closer and all that kind of good stuff. So other than that, life has been great, moving up, moving on, and that's what we're looking forward to, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Myself, yeah. Last but not least, doing well. I'm on summer. I'm in the summer school now. So, feeling pretty proud about what I was able to accomplish this year. A lot of good memories were made, able to kind of close out in the right way. Went to a little bit of these youth graduations. Some of the clients that I've been working with, making sure we send them out the right way. And then, just trying to transition as quickly as possible back into school. I mean, it kind of sucks, but it'll be helpful come fall, come spring, when I just have less classes to take than some of my other peers. So I'm excited, and it's research, which for me is like the equivalent of like statistics, basically, in terms of general ed. Like, I just hated math. It's just not my thing.
Who did it?
Man, right? Like, there were some areas where it was useful, but we all know that those were minimal areas, at least for me, in terms of the high-end math, and I basically just needed basic math to do what I was doing. And so, at the end of the day, it's more about the daunting nature of the overall experience of those kind of classes that feels very similar with research, where it's just, I don't ever feel comfortable, and that's just not, I'm okay with that to a certain extent, but it's not great to just never have that feeling of comfort in a space like that. But I was very impressed with myself for somehow pulling out an A. I went to pulled out a lot of stops, went through some BS to make sure I got it. But at the end of the day, that shows that it's possible, and so I think I can do it again. Just about working hard, making sure I stay out ahead of it, and I'm thankful that it's just one class for the summer, so the workload won't be the same. I can kind of be hyper focused on this. And then family's doing well. Everybody else, the friends are doing good, as you can see. Everybody's kind of prospering and going up, man. So that always brings a smile to my face. And then, I think that, making sure as we move forward that this show continues to be in a better space. And that's a beautiful part of all this as well. And so, believe it or not, I always look at the Say Something fam, the Say Something squad, everybody that's here. I always look at this as a real progressive kind of trajectory. And so that excites me as well. And anytime we're doing any kind of growth stuff, which as I say this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, please. We're trying to get to 50 so we can go live. But we never try to juice that stuff up because this is all natural. And so it's just exciting to see the way we've built fellowship camaraderie through this. And we're doing something that we still enjoy to do. And that to me is what, kind of life is all about, figuring it out. How can we stay together? How can we stay unified? But also do things that are productive and helpful and might help you guys too. So 100%. Now that we got that out the way,
sports.
Yeah, exactly. Sports. As you can tell, I got a little bit of a rough, you know what I mean? I just got off a little coffee cough, so if you hear a little bit of that low voice, I know I usually do sound like DMX anyway, but today might be that DMX day, you know what I mean? So we got a lot to talk about. Let us get started on that. And then, as we go in the comments, you guys will be telling us what else you think we may have missed or what could be on the next episode. First, today we have the NBA with the finals update and a quick convo. So I'm going to shoot from left and then to right just to have a quick conversation about what you're seeing so far. Obviously, we can give an update. We are at 2-2 in the series. Yep, to everybody's surprise, and for those who don't know, this is the NBA Finals, and the series is Indiana Pacers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. So why don't you, Mitch, start off by breaking down what you're seeing so far, or just what you think of the finals with where it's at, with more than halfway through.
I think so far I'm I feel like I was pretty on point when I was talking about how these are two complete teams that are playing against each other. If one person is not performing, it seems like it affects the whole team at the end of the day for both these squads. And we see it when Chet's not doing well to help Shai Glizzy, or Isaiah Hartenstein's not stepping up. But having Jalen Williams has been a big help for the times when Shai has been getting locked up in this series as well. So I think it's been two complete teams battling it out. Tonight, OKC ended up coming back, scoring 31 in the fourth quarter to Indiana's 17. So it really showed they made a hard comeback at the end, really held it down for their squad. Shai Glizzy with another 35-point performance. So he's really showing out. He may not be having the best in terms of percentages, right. But when it comes down to the critical moments at the end of the game, he is coming up clutch, because this could have easily been a 3-1 game. Indiana was winning damn near until the last 3 minutes. And then OKC held it down towards the end. Your boy Benedict falling all over the court at the end of the game right there. Didn't really help out the Pacers on that one. Halliburton and the boys were a little short on some of their threes. Little bit of wobbly legs at the end of this game. So both teams winning on each other's courts. I think it's going to be one of these series that's going to come in 7 games, because both of them are playing strong. And I think Pascal Siakam is somebody that's really showing out for the Pacers other than Tyrese Halliburton.
Absolutely. Arick, what have you seen so far, and what do you think about this matchup as it's played out?
Man, so far, this is getting back to some of that real true basketball from what I've kind of seen so far, because we're so used to growing up with the superstars. There's 3 of them on one team, 3 on another team, and they're just the stars going at it, and it's just whose stars are playing better at the time. Where this series or this NBA Finals kind of shows no, this is how you're supposed to really have basketball teams built. You just have 1 or 2 good stars maybe on each team, and then the role players are playing their roles to the utmost, so that all of them are being able to shine and being able to actually operate within the system that's being built around them to actually succeed. And you can see that, especially with the Indiana Pacers, because nobody thought they were going this far. Right. We thought they was going to get bounced out by the Knicks. We thought they was going to not make it past the first round. And they have shown, as long as you stick with your system and you're staying disciplined to what the coach and what the game or the scheme is, you'll be successful. And they've ran through that scheme through everybody. Cleveland, Knicks, and now OKC is trying to be oh, snap, they really can play. Because I'm sure, myself and everybody else out there that's watching the series, they thought the OKC was going to run away with it, because they just have been by far the best looking team in the whole NBA playoffs. for the most part. And then you got the MVP
season.
Right, for the season. And you got the MVP who's been dang near averaging 30 all season. Right. So it's like, oh, you think they got it easy in the bag. Mm-hmm. Not the case. Right. And you can tell that this is definitely a game of wits and minds, especially between the coaches. Yeah, for sure. Because it's just the back and forth between the 2 and 2. Like, none of the games have been blowouts. Mm-hmm. Like, there's only been one game where it's been like, okay, they ran away with it. Right. But outside of that, every game has been within 2 or 3 points, 4 points, 5 points. It's not been like no crazy blowout so far. So that just shows that there's a lot of scheming going on in the background, like what film watching, what's going on, what can they take advantage of, what can they utilize to be able to get the edge on for the next game. And that's when you know this is some real deep basketball going on, because it's not anymore like, oh, we're just going to roll out the ball and y'all just hoop. Somebody scored 30 or 40 points, got it. No, it's like, okay, who can we take advantage of? Do we need to go ahead and set a screen here, switch here, so we can always get the switch and take advantage of this matchup? Do we need to have our bigs start to roll more, or do we need to pull him out so that we can have Shea or SGA? Or, in Tyrese's point, do we need to have Tyrese pass a little bit more, or do we need to bring Miles Turner out of there so he can have more room to operate on the inside? So many things are going on within this game, and if you're a real true basketball head, you're going to see that. And so it's been exciting for NBA Finals for me. I've been loving watching it and taking all the information in. I'm learning new stuff as I'm a high school coach myself. And so I'm trying to pick apart and man, what can I use for, to teach my kids? Because I'm like, this is some real good basketball being played, and so much can be learned just watching this NBA Finals if you really pay attention.
Absolutely. I agree with what both of you guys are saying. And just to touch quickly, because I think both of you guys should be the main factors in some of these conversations, and I'll kind of just segue us through it. But I do think this is a good little point for me to throw in there. I think we've talked about it before on previous shows. We've talked about it before off air. Identity matters so much, right? And we've said it all along where, especially when it comes down to playoff time, if you know who you are, you got a way better shot than what talent would bring to the table, right? And so, I think that when I'm seeing the way that this is ending up playing out as a matchup, you really start understanding these two teams know what it takes for them to be playing good ball with their identity at the forefront. So they know what it looks like when, we're pushing our will upon this other team. Our style is now at the forefront. Like when you see Indiana out there pushing theirs, it's like up and back and up and back. And Shea is tired. These guys are not ready because they would like to be a little more in the half court. Shea likes to pick and choose his spots where he can poison you slowly, death by 1,000 cuts. And the Pacers, they're not going to allow you to play slow enough to do anything methodically like that. And then you look at the other way around, when the Thunder are playing really well, it's that super suffocating defense that ends up turning into offense. And then you look at how Shea ends up playing when they're doing well. He opens up the floor for everybody else. Everybody else starts doing their thing. Now, what I think is very interesting that both of you guys have kind of brought up a little bit is I learned this today that Coach Degenau, or whatever his name is, the dude from the Thunder, is a part of Coach Carlisle's coaching tree. And that usually does have an impact across sports. We've seen it. And what it does at least say is that Carlisle probably knows this dude better than any of us. Right. And before I even knew that, it kind of felt that way, right? Like watching this was really on some coaching exhibitions. Like this doesn't matter who I got out there. These X's and O's is going to defeat the Jims and the Joes. And we're seeing that. And I don't think basketball's been in a state like this for a long time. And I think that's why true hoopers actually appreciate this. Is because this ain't politics. This is just real hoop. This is just, we beat you. You might have had the glit, you might have had the glam, but now you said we were playing basketball. And so we just beat you in basketball. You guys can have the rest of the stuff. Right. And I think that there's a lot of true NBA fans and players who, after kind of being a little disgusted with the matchup, have taken a step back and realized, there is some silver lining to all of this in terms of where basketball is headed and in terms of the core values of basketball, right? Because now that money's gotten involved, NIL, all this stuff, it's the case across all sports. but we've seen it because basketball, you have access to these guys so early. NFL, it's not as defined, right? You don't know the best offensive lineman at 14. These guys in basketball, I mean, they're the best. They're somehow number one in the nation at 14. You have access to them, right? So I think that the purity within basketball, the joy, the fun, right, I think has been getting sucked out a little bit with all the politics, all the just over, just the glamorizing of the super teams, right? And the who cares about a bench, who cares about the rest of the money, right? We just want the starting five to do the best it can. I think people have finally witnessed, like you mentioned, it's not going to work anymore with teams that are constructing young and they're constructing deep, and they're going back to what the Warriors really did before we knew Steph was a global superstar, before we knew Clay was going to be his perfect Robin, right? We just bet the money on the strength and said we bet that the rest of these guys are solid enough to hold it down, right? So I think that's really exciting. And so the last question that I'd ask before we move on, because if you guys aren't watching this finals, I bet you some of you guys snoozed on it thinking, "Say it's gonna be worth watching." Right. You should tune in. You should tune in. I mean, the Pacers are somehow tied in this series, and I think their largest lead is 10 points. Yep. And I think that they said they were winning before this game for a total of 3 minutes. Yep. And we're up in the series. Like, I don't think I had ever seen anything like that.
Crazy stat.
You up 3 minutes in the series and you winning 2-1. Whoa. Right? So anyway, I want to do this. We'll do this reverse order this time. I'm just going to ask really quickly, if the series ended today, who is your MVP, Arick?
My MVP if the series ends today, and I'm going to say let's say the OKC won, because I still feel like they're going to pull it out. MVP is going to be Shea. It's just the Thunder goes as Shea goes. He's been as advertised, basically. I don't think he's averaged less than dang near 30 for these NBA finals.
Right.
And so if he keeps this up and the way he's playing at his all-star MVP level, easily the NBA Finals MVP, for sure.
Yeah. Totally feel that. How about you, Mitch?
I would have to agree. If OKC wins it, I think the number one reason is always going to be Shai Glizzy. On the other side, it's either going to be Tyrese or it could potentially be, in my opinion, Pascal Siakam, because I think he's been carrying a lot of this too, carrying the team a lot as well.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think if it were to end today, because we don't know a winner, I would say it's Pascal Siakam. Mm-hmm. Just because for them to even be tied, right? We all thought this was a 4-1, and we were being like gracious to the Pacers. Like, I'm gonna give you one. I don't want to say sweet. Let me just give you this one. Right. So Siakam has proven that this is not only must-watch TV, but that we were very incorrect in that assessment. Mm-hmm. And to me, Halliburton has impact. Yeah. But if you talk about who's actually changing the scoreboard, Siakam has been out there looking like the Toronto run. Yeah. Where it's just give me rock. I got it. Like the Warrior killer. Like when he killed us, like I know what it looks like. And he's looking a lot like that. And so for me, when you look at the matchups he's going against, the Thunder felt good about that going into it. Yeah. But we got Chet and we got Isaiah.
Right.
You said you're going to do what? He was like, no, I'm going to cook.
Yeah.
I'm going to cook. So that would be where I go, just because I think we all know Tyrese's impact, and I know Shea's impact. I don't discredit either. But I don't know if any of us said Pascal's name. You know what I mean? Even going into this run as somebody of importance, even though, of course, we know he's very important to the Pacers. So moving on from the finals, we'll obviously keep y'all up to date on everything that's going on. By the next show, we should be pretty close to knowing what's going on. But don't worry, we'll get you guys fully up to date on each and every one of those games as they come. So we're going to move forward. And moving forward looks like Giannis and KD real fast. Mm-hmm. And those are the two biggest names, as you know, on the market right now. I don't think that'll change. Now, I think new names could be added, but I don't think we'll get bigger names than those two. So just really fast, we'll have it be a two-part. One part is, do you think Giannis has moved? That's period. And then the second part of this question is, where will KD be moved? Because that seems to be inevitable. Yeah. Right? So I'm going to swing it back to Mitch. We'll keep going reverse. Mm-hmm. So, Mitch, do you think Giannis will be moved? That's the first question. And then secondarily, where will KD be moved? Or if you don't agree that it will be,
I'm starting to lean a little bit towards not getting moved because I feel like a lot of the teams that have been getting named, like the Spurs and the Rockets and some, like, who else, like Memphis.
We're talking about for Giannis or KD?
For Giannis. Just some of these teams that I'm seeing, I'm just like, he
yeah,
wants
like
to stay
Houston,
on the East.
San Antonio.
If you want to still try and be productive, I don't think going to the West is really going to be as advantageous as being on the East side. I mean, you've seen the Pacers came out this, like, flip it, you know, it's just like they roll a dice and, oh, yeah, just so happened to be the Pacers this year. So that could still be you guys. I know Dame Lillard's on the mid coming in the next season, and we don't know how that team is going to be structurally wise once we come to the next season, but that might be his best bet, something that's familiar already, and I just don't see the other teams, like, I don't see a big move being made, but I think it would be exciting, but I just don't see it being made.
And then KD?
KD is definitely going to get out of there. I don't know where. I just personally have been disappointed that it doesn't seem like he wants to come to the Warriors, and I feel like that'd be a good fit basketball-wise, but I don't know. There's just something against – he's got something against us at this point. But I can't even call it really. Like, both these players, a bunch of teams want them, but
of course.
I think it's at the end of the day, it's going to be a bunk deal for whoever trades for these guys.
Oh, man.
Because I just don't think there's a lot of leverage for the teams, or there's just like they're going to get fleeced for too much because of what these guys demand. And so I don't know. That might be something that dissuades teams from actually wanting to pull the trigger, but I have a feeling he's going to be gone. I couldn't even call it what team he's going to be.
Fair enough. On to Arick. Same question to you. So do you think Giannis will be moved? And then secondarily, where will KD go?
I don't think Giannis is going to be on the move. I know that he's been tweeting some things, and people have been like, "Oh yeah, look, he might be trying to get up out of there." But almost kind of like what Mitch was saying, it just doesn't make sense for you to try to leave what you've already built. You have a whole system basically built around you as the superstar, and for you to actually be like, I want to move somewhere else, wherever you're going at pretty much this point in time in the NBA, you're going to be a part of somebody else's system. And so you might move to another system, but that system might not fit you. And we just had a whole conversation about the NBA Finals about system and fit and how that all works. So you can't just willy-nilly just move anywhere and everywhere because you may not fit within that system, and then you might look crazy. So I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think he's probably his best bet is just to kind of either stick with Milwaukee and try to run that out and see if they can move some more pieces to kind of build around him. Like you said, I know Dame is out, and that's going to be a tough injury to come back from, that Achilles tear. But we have seen people come back and still hoop. KD, who I'm talking about next, is a prime example of that. We thought he might have been done, but he was like, he came back and was still like, no, I'm still KD. So it's very possible that he can come back and still be very effective within that Milwaukee Bucks system. They just may need to move some pieces and get a system down for Giannis to be able to continue to be productive. And he's still young. There's no reason to really move at your age and at this time. Just continue to hoop and be cool. KD, definitely he's probably going to be out there because just the Suns fit so far. The experiment they ran out there, it's not working. It's not working
KD
for him.
don't fit nowhere.
Man.
And it's unfortunate because
the curse of Lil B.
He's just still high.
You should have known.
Right. He's so great at what he does as a scorer, and we all know how great of a player he is, but it's going to be very hard to kind of find. He is moving. I just don't know where, because it's hard to call like which team really needs a scorer of that caliber that demands so much of the offense at any given time within an NBA system. Because
who's gonna give all that up for them? Because these people, both these trade picks are both gonna garner so much for them.
Facts.
Is it gonna be worth it for the one player that they're gonna get?
Facts. Because KD he's on the older side. He's in the older generation, the Stephs, the LeBrons, and all that kind of stuff. And so being able to try to trade for that, if you're going to trade not only your future away, because that's what a team's going to have to do, trade their future away, plus either matching up the contracts, because KD don't make a little money, he make cash.
Yeah.
So you got to match the contract so everything fits. So you're going to have to give away another big piece and your future to even bring KD in. And if you're not like set up to a point where like we see us getting into the finals or a championship within 1 or 2 years, it just doesn't make sense to cash out like that. Because like I said, like Mitch was saying, most teams are probably gonna feel like they're getting fleeced. And as a Kings fan, we know something about that. But we'll get to that in my segment.
Right. That's we up there. We coming up.
Yeah. But KD for sure on the move. I don't know where he's gonna go. I don't know what team is gonna give up to him. I'll be shocked to see what the package is for him whenever they get to that point, and how they make it happen. Because if a team is able to make it happen where they gave up a bag of chips and a side of soda for KD, first of all, that GM needs a raise and probably the GM of the year,
right?
And
keys to the city,
right?
And all that, and they make it happen. But I just don't see a team not getting away with losing a good chunk of potential future and a possible high-end young player that's actually hooping, for an older player that might retire within the next couple of seasons. This might be his last big contract before he's like, I'm done. And do you really add anything else outside of scoring, when you need so much into a team? So we'll see. I don't know who's going to do it. But whenever it does, it's for sure going to be news, as we do know.
And like you said, whatever team does trade for him needs to know exactly what they're going to do with him, because we've already seen it with these two. He's been traded twice now.
Yep.
For the same, he's going to get the same kind of package, whatever team gets traded to. So it's failed twice. Is that team going to be like, hey, we saw how it messed up these last couple of times. We know how to get. We got the secret sauce for it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I would tend to be in agreement with the Giannis play. I think maybe a week or two ago, I was a little more skeptical on the fact that I didn't think he would want to stay. But I'm hearing things like that the Bucks are selling him on kind of a down year and trying to say that they're going to retool, gain assets. And then the other thing that I've heard, which is very intriguing, and I think is the actual golden bar, if there is one for him to stay, is they're saying they're willing to go into the luxury tax, which is bold. Like Milwaukee never does. Milwaukee notoriously is not a market that's big enough to even be considering that.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, I think they realized how real it was that Giannis will walk. I mean, because they're just in such a disastrous situation if they want to maintain where they've been, right? And it really became super paramount once Dame went down. When they realized Dame won't even be here till next. I mean, Dame won't be there till the playoffs. And, like, if you're expecting Dame to come back from a year off and be playoff Dame, you're also insane. So, really, it's a washed year for him, And so, the only way they survive that is by going to the luxury tax. Biting the bullet, saying, you know what? We'll take a year or two of paying an extra $100 million, whatever it is, and we'll put whoever it is that you need to compete around you. And if they're willing to do that, that was the only way out. That's the only way that I saw it. And recently, within the last 24 hours, I've seen that article come out with that information. And so, if that is true, then this is the first time where I feel pretty firmly Giannis won't be moved, because that's a power move by them. I mean, again, it's rare. I mean, there's not a lot of small market teams that would ever be willing to, but I think they also realize they have a generational talent on their hands. And when Milwaukee will get another generational talent or a guy who's won them a championship, could be
decades
or never. And so, I think that when you look at it from a business standpoint, as crazy as it sounds, I think it's what they have to do.
Yeah.
I think it's what they have to do. So, on to KD, I think the three teams, since these guys graciously bowed out, which was very politically correct of them, the three teams for me with KD, I mean, obviously I think the assets won't be as much as with Giannis, but I think there'll still be a lot. But obviously Giannis is 30, KD is 36, will be 37 in the season. I still think you're giving up a lot, but I think those are two different packages. I think when you're giving up the Giannis package, you're looking at the presidential suite. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at
I need about 4-5
open up the whole treasure chest and close your eyes. Because I'm taking what I want. So just close your eyes, open up the treasure chest. Yeah. The KD trade is more like, I do need some good stuff coming back. I would like some assets, but really more than anything, we need this money to work.
Yeah.
I need this money to work. And that's the trickiest part. So the 3 teams that I think could make it happen between assets and money, and the secondary piece of, I think, many teams no longer believing in these long windows. I think that's another big shift in the NBA. Is I don't think that there's a ton of belief in we can build a team that'll have a 6-year window to win championships.
Oh, yeah, no shot.
I think that's gone. I think that left with the Warriors, and I think that left when KD said, I'm going to be a net. I think that's the last time we've ever seen an opportunity like that. And we all know how it turned out. We just talked about it, right? Little B curse still remains. And that boy hasn't touched nothing winning since he left us. No. So I don't see that being likely. And I think that the way teams are looking at it now is 2 to 4 year windows. And I think 4 means you've done it phenomenally, like the Thunder. And I think 2 means you're kind of in a position like Minnesota.
Yeah.
Where they got a superstar, they got a pretty nice core, but they're like the right piece away from really being that. And so Minnesota's one for me with KD, where I think they got Rob Dillingham, they got some assets over there, and they can go ahead and move off Julius. I think Julius was solid. But I think we can move Julius. You go ahead and add Rob in there. You add some assets. You might have to throw in another fluffer. Somebody with some contract.
Dante DiVincenzo or something.
You might throw in a Dante, right? And that could probably get the deal done. And I think, you get Ant with his hero. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good look. And I think that they're looking at it again. Like, we got 2 years anyway.
Young
you can call Ant young all you want. But, like, this is all about the team. Yeah. And we're in no position to guarantee that we're going to put a good team around him come 2030. So we need to be hyper-focused on right now. The other team would be Houston. I think Houston is going to recognize Giannis is not in play. And I think that they're going to understand, too, that their window is not as big as everybody thinks either. You know what I mean? Like, you got a couple young guys, and I think the only true star is Amin Thompson. So it's not like you're sitting over there on, like, a plethora of superstars that everybody's looking to pay. And I think you're also realizing you guys couldn't score on nobody. Man. We didn't even have nobody taller than me out there. And y'all was scoring 88 points. You know what I mean? And so I think they recognized very quickly, Jalen Green, this ain't it. Mm-hmm. This ain't it. And if you're the guy that we're relying on for offense, we're in trouble. And that's why we're ranked in the 20s in offense. Mm-hmm. It's because you're our leader. We need somebody like KD, right? They got the assets. They got a Reed Shepherd, right? Mm-hmm. You throw in one of those. You throw in probably got to be Fred. I'm gonna keep it 100. The way the money looks,
Freddie out there,
which is terrible.
Tari,
but they do got the guys, to kind of compensate. Maybe Tari, maybe you look at Dylan Brooks. I mean, again,
Jalen, like you said.
I think it would end up probably being Jalen and Fred to get the money right, and then you add in a Reed or some picks, right, to just fluffing that up. I think that's a good look. And then lastly, my dark horse is really New York, the Knicks, because I just think Cat. Dude, whatever you want to say about KD's defense, it won't be worse than Cat. and KD knows how to play system-oriented defense. Yeah. And when he was with us, he was actually an A1 defender. Yeah, now I don't know if he's still at that level, but does he understand systems and how to play within that defensively? Yes. And is that one of the biggest issues they have with Cat? Where are you on the court right now?
Right.
Yes. Lost. So I think they'd get everything and more offensively, and they'd get a bigger return defensively. Mm-hmm. And I think at the end of the day, the rest of that core can handle a lot of everything other than scoring. And so that is a team that I think when they look at the East, some of the conversations we've had, it's wide open. Wide open. And you make a move for KD.
Straight up.
They'll change.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you still have to add something in because Cat gets more than Cat does. But that's the best one in terms of like literally straight up. Like I could send you Cat in a baby biscuit.
Yeah.
And call it a day. Yeah. And call it a day. And call it a day. And so, you also think about Mitchell Robinson being able to slide back in and start 5. Yeah. I'm not mad at that.
That's true.
I'm not mad at that. And if I'm the Knicks, I'm getting all that sassiness,
zestiness over to Phoenix.
Zesty Bob, they got a spot for you in the Valley, bud. You and Buck gonna be over there.
Back with the Kentucky boys.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Have one of your top boys, Devin Booker.
Right.
One of his road dogs.
Right. Real talk.
Hey, that might be a fit.
It could happen. And in Minnesota's eyes, that's more the Dev Book timeline.
Yeah.
Shake something. So those are my teams that I'm going to put out there. Lastly, in terms of the Warriors, this is for me and Mitch, and you can throw your opinion in here if you'd like as well before we get on to the Kings talk, is do we keep Kuminga or sign and trade to get new additions, as he is the biggest piece in our offseason puzzle? What would you say in terms of, if you were given that question today, how would you feel on either re-signing him or trying to gain some refreshed talent by?
I would need to see who are the big free agents coming up this next season. Because I feel like that would make me think a little bit differently if I knew all those guys.
Right. Well, in the sign and trade, you can trade too. So technically it's anybody.
I think it's time to make the decision on what we want to do. I can't. Man, it's been what, 3 years of this now of just like, what are we gonna do about this situation?
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, now it's down to like maybe 2 seasons instead of like 5 seasons left of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And man, we just haven't been able to pull the trigger. I mean, I don't know who we'll be able to get to trade, like in a trade for anybody that we had with Kuminga that would really make a huge difference. But man, it would just suck to lose such a good asset at such a young age.
Oh my God, 22.
Because at the end of the day, we didn't play him enough. Like, in all honesty, like that's been the rough part. It's like, should have been playing him this whole time. Like all the minutes that he needed.
Yep.
Because it's not like anybody else who had been playing the minutes that were taken away from him were making that much of an impact, or we considered a player that we wanted to keep for the next 5-6 years. It was just another guy we brought in just to fill in for that season. It's like, wait, we got the future for like.
Yeah.
Have him mix in now.
Yeah, so, have him fail even.
Yeah,
we don't
exactly.
care.
We don't care.
Remember that guy Lamb? Remember that guy Lamb?
Like, exactly. How were these guys playing? So I think that was our biggest flaw, is not playing him enough. I think at the end of the day, we just really need to push him to take the next step. I know we keep saying it all the time, but now is the time where it's like, give that man the confidence to be like, hey, you be the second scorer now. Like, that's your responsibility. You take it in your hands. Stop trying to give it up. Make smart decisions on the court. Know that, like, have a little bit of IQ. Know what you're doing if you're going to attack. Be confident when you're going to shoot. Guys play off of you and you still try and attack them. That doesn't work. We need you to take a step back, take some shots to bring that defense out to you, because nobody can stop you once you go to the hoop. So at the end of the day, with all that said, I think we should keep him. I think that would be best. But the only way that's going to work out is if Kuminga decides to take that next step.
Right. For me, I feel like I'm a little split. I think because I'm almost a part of the free Kuminga campaign, and I just don't see it happening with us. Like, I don't see a situation now that Jimmy Butler's on the team where he'll get any level of practice or production that he's going to need. I mean, if anything, his minutes to me has lowered, and then we're in the same situation with Moses Moody, where it's just like, and now y'all are fighting for minutes too, and it's like, you know, something's got to give, and these guys are better than what we're getting out of them. And so, you know, I think that the league values him more than what we're seeing as well. And so for me, it's more of a question of, what are we getting? You know, what are people wanting to give? You know, because, you know, if we're able to get a real serviceable starting big, and we're able to get another bench piece, and that requires us to move off of Kuminga in a signing trade, I'd be sad as hell. But at the end of the day, the more that I'm seeing this, the more I'm really recognizing we ain't built ourselves. Like, we already lost that train of truly being ready to compete after Steph anyway. It ain't happening. And so, do I think Kuminga would be a great piece to have in that moving forward process? Sure. But do I also think he might even be too far ahead of the timeline of whatever that team's going to need? Yeah. I mean, he's 22. That's young. But the kids who are going to be a part of the next good Warriors team, they might be 14 right now. You know what I mean? They might be 16, right? And so, you know, I just think that you want to see a guy that's already put 4 years in the league get some opportunities. He's a starter in the league, no doubt about it. If we're not willing to do it, I just want to see him hoop.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see him hoop. So I would say if the right thing comes along, right, like if it's a deal where we get Vucevic and somebody else from the Bulls and we can't get him on the roster other than letting Kuminga go, let's talk, right? Like we'll add somebody else in. You send us Kobe White or I saw a trade where it was Vucevic and Lonzo Ball for Kuminga and somebody else. And I'm like, hey, it wasn't even a big name. The other one wasn't even a big name. And I'm like, hey, man, like at the end of the day, dude, like I love Kuminga to death, but we are now firmly in a win now. Mm-hmm. Like we are in we needed yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's the first time that I think I've truly put my foot down on that, but free that man, whatever that means, right? So, and I would let you speak on that, but you got your own segment right here, so we want to let you jump right in without wasting too much breath on the Warriors. Sure. As you guys know, King Special, he's going to come and get his own segment every time whenever he does step on the show. So, season's over, off season's here, draft's coming up. Why don't you give a little update, let everybody know in Sac what's really cracking with the Kings?
Yeah, so
light the beam.
It was like that bit this year. This was not light the beam season. We shut the beam down this season. It was a struggle year for sure for us Kings fans. We thought we was about to do something, and it got real ugly really quick. We brought in DeMar. We're like, okay, DeMar's coming in. At the time, we had the De'Aaron, okay, DeMontis. We got something going. We got some stars power. We moving somewhere. That's what we thought. That's what we came into. Eventually, unfortunately, things went off the rail. De'Aaron voiced his opinion about being dissatisfied by being coached by 9 different coaches all the damn time when he was on pretty much his whole career being in the league. We fired Mike Brown, which was just a couple years ago, was the coach of the year. Mm-hmm. And the dysfunction started to kind of spread back up. We thought we got rid of it. We thought we were all moving somewhere. But it started creeping back up with a lot of the top brass and the toxicity that's going up in there. Nobody knows what they're doing. People want one thing. Some people want another thing. People are fighting for their jobs. But it's an unrealistic expectation that's being set upon the Kings just because we have been outside of the playoffs for so long. And so we almost kind of got like thirsty or greedy once we kind of got to the playoffs that won a couple years back. And we're like, oh, we got to get back. We got to do it again. It's like, I need another taste of that. And it's like, well, we have to be realistic. Around that time frame, we got a nice little stroke of luck. You know, a lot of the top teams in the West at that point in time were injured. A lot of the top players on those teams were injured. So we were able to kind of move on through to the West into the top 2. And, yeah, our offense was clicking on all cylinders. Everybody's doing what they're doing. We're looking like mini Golden State. Who was out there hooping. But we ran into the real Golden State in the first round, and we found out very quickly experience matters. Mm-hmm. And, yes, even though we went all 7 games with the Golden State that one year, MVP Steph stepped up, and he was like, let me go ahead and put y'all to bed. Night-night. Then his famous celebration. Exactly. So after that whole season came through, we ran into some bad things. Kevin Huerter went down, wasn't shooting like he was the first season when we got him. Keegan was off, on and off. We picked up Keegan, but that was really just Harrison Barnes 2.0, so that didn't make any sense. We went ahead and got Devin Carter on this last pick, which was like he didn't play until dang near the last half of the season. Yeah. So we were like, we don't know what's going on. And we ended up 40 and 42. We really could have been worse. Right. So it wasn't too bad of a season, but given what we kind of went through and who we have at personnel, we should have probably finished higher than that, at least above 500. Right. Just didn't. So unfortunately, we did trade away our franchise point guard at the time, De'Aaron Fox. Twice. And 2 times. Twice. We did not get in. Oh, and we'll get into that too. And hopefully y'all learn from our mistake with Kuminga or our young talent, because we did trade away our now NBA Final point guard Tyrese Halliburton. Wow, how things change. You know, we thought we won that trade when we did eventually made it. DeMontis was hooping. We're like, oh, we ran.
Right.
We won the trade.
Goes perfectly to your point of those guys who are up making all the decisions don't know what the hell they're doing.
Don't know what the
They
heck
keep picking all the people who suck and sending away everybody who's doing good.
Exactly. And that we got to figure it out. So to go over the De'Aaron Fox trade, if you guys don't know, real quick, we did trade De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs and the Bulls. It was a three-team trade.
Right.
So we ended up receiving Zach LaVine back, which some people were like, oh, okay, Zach LaVine's cool. However, we don't have a point guard. So now you have two basically shooting guards at DeMar and Zach LaVine at the same time, and they both need the ball. They're both ball dominant guards. Offense is a little stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a little insight. Then we got City Sissoko. Most people that don't know basketball or don't watch basketball don't know who that is. So that's just a random person they threw in there to be like, hey, we got to make the contracts.
Contract filler.
So he's whatever. We thought we was gonna get back at some good picks for which we should have, but we ended up getting the 2025 first round pick from the Hornets, right? Well, that was top 3 or top 4 protected. And if we all watch the lottery, guess who's at 4? The Charlotte Hornets. So they kept their pick. So that pick for us turned us into a second round pick for us.
2 second-round picks.
2 second-round picks. Then
this bobblehead.
Right. Harrison Barnes.
Right. And the bobblehead. Can't forget the bobblehead. That was important. Then we went ahead and got the 2027 Spurs first round pick. Probably not going to be a great pick just for the fact that they just got the second round pick for this draft in 2025 to go along with De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama and the Rookie of the Year, Stephen Castle. Yeah. So they're building something quite nice over there, and they're probably not going to be ass in the next 2 years or so. That's probably not going to be a good pick. 2031 Timberwolves first round pick might be something.
Right.
However,
that's a long
ways away. And we also don't know what that might turn to because Anthony Edwards might still be there.
He'll still be primed out.
Right. And he might be hooping.
Bro, you guys wouldn't have one player on the team now in 2030. That's
at all.
Right now. Like none of these guys.
Everybody's expired.
Nobody will be.
So it's going to be pretty ugly around that time. And then we got some second round picks from the Bulls and the Nuggets. Hey,
package them up, baby.
That was a great package,
6
right?
second-round picks for 1 first-round pick.
One first, right?
You got them.
So that was a dud trade. Unfortunately, somebody didn't read the fine print when they made the trade. So that's probably not going to end up very well for us in the future. So to get into the future, we did go ahead and let Monty McNair go on for our last GM that was making all the crazy trades. Appreciate your service, sir, but you didn't really push the needle that much. But you guys to the playoffs, and we got to go to the Golden One Center. Everybody was outside. It was at Punch Bowl. It was great. But other than that, we let you go. We went ahead and hired Scotty Perry, who is the former New York Knicks GM. So that might turn into something. But hey, who knows?
Right.
Our number one need for the offseason to address. Clearly, point guard. We don't got nobody to handle the ball.
Keon Ellis, baby.
Boy, they Zach loves Keon Ellis.
I don't know.
Survived every cut.
That is the G League underdog story that we just love to go along with, but that's not going to be the answer. I'm just going to let you guys know right now. That's not the answer.
Don't do it.
So I've seen some things out there for the neither point guards. Some people have been saying Trae Young's a possibility.
I saw that.
Scotty Perry doesn't really like Trae Young being there, which I can see why. Defense wise, he can be a liability.
And New York,
right? And
New York, they hate Atlanta and Trae Young.
Do not like that guy for that reason. So that may not be a great big fit.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
I've seen LaMelo Ball pop up.
I saw that too, though. I saw that one.
That's probably not going to happen. That would be a very hard sell for Charlotte to give up their franchise starting point guard for buckets or whatever we can offer them, which is not a whole lot of nothing.
It's gonna be picks.
And it would be picks, and we don't need to do
second round picks.
We do have our own a lot of second rounds, and we do have a lot of our first round picks still. But we don't need to give those around.
San Antonio.
We don't need to give any more picks up.
Right.
We need to keep all the picks because this is what got us in the hot water the first time when we gave up all the picks for DeMarcus Cousins in that trade. That we don't need to do any of that.
Right.
Learn. Drew Holiday has come up. That's a very possible
I like
trade. That's a good trade that we can get. Defensive point guard, big guard, can play point guard, can score. And you don't really need him to score a lot. You already have two fantastic scorers, and Zach LaVine and DeMar still there. So that could be a great fit for us. I've seen Jordan
playoff experience.
And championship experience. So that might be a good
That's
pick.
They're the best one.
Right. That might be the best one, I would say, off-season wise. If we can make that happen, I would say sign Drew Holiday and pull that in. Right. Then we had picked up, this Jordan Poole's popped up.
Yep.
Nah. I mean,
boy, if he came back to NorCal like that, oh my God.
We saw that didn't work in Washington, so I don't even know why that even came up. So
I got Malik. I got so many scores.
We got too many scores out of this. Marcus Smart has also come up, which great backup point guard, but
it's like a poor man's Drew Holiday.
Yeah, poor man's Drew Holiday. Mm-hmm. And then we got randomly I saw Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah.
Which is also a possibility. He's still still in the league, still a solid point guard, gonna do his job, gonna play defense. Right. However, he's had a terrible injury history. History likely. Back, all that kind of stuff. So he might not be a long-term fix. Clearly not a long-term fix for us. Right. But we do have, of course, trade pieces. One of the bigger trade pieces is DeMontis. Mm-hmm. I think, and he's also the one that's making the most money on our team, and it's causing us to take a pretty big cap hit. So,
$40 million.
Yeah. So we're down and under or over the cap by at least $30 million. So, and it's all into DeMontis, DeMar, and Zach. And DeMar actually is on a contract-friendly one, right? Because he did sign that nice small. He helped us out.
Yes.
I mean, I know might be a little upset with all of what's going on, trading De'Aaron, because he's like, I came over to play with De'Aaron.
Yeah, I know he was hot. And then to bring Zach to you,
what? And then he brought his boy back, but he's like, I left
We already lost doing that.
Right, doing the same thing. So he's like, I don't understand what's going on here. So he might be trying to get up out of there too. But I would say definitely DeMontis, as great as you've been for a sack and everything, we got to get him up out of there. Now, I don't know in what combination of players and things that we can get to bring that back. I saw a trade idea that is a long shot, but could possibly work with the Pelicans, where we trade DeMontis for DeJounte Murray and I believe it was Herb Jones and the number 7 overall pick for this year. Right? That would be a great scenario. That would be a great scenario if we can make that happen. They get a nice center for the future to go along with Zion and all that kind of stuff that's going on over there. Mm-hmm. And then what we do get back is DeJounte Murray, which is a good serviceable point guard until our next future point guard, which I would hope at the number 7 pick, we would pick Jeremiah Fears, right? Which would be our next franchise young point guard for the future. He can be tutored by DeJounte Murray there, and that allows one to free up some space around DeMar and Zach and people that can kind of move. And we get a defensive guard back with DeJounte. And Herb Jones. So we got a great defensive backcourt that could shoulder or bolster our backcourt to go along with, or even come off the bench. So we can make that happen. That would be a good idea. DeMar is also another possible that we can. I don't know how many people. The only thing that makes him attractive is his contract. So trading him out for another team because he is older on the older tip, even though he's still a great scorer.
35.
But he is an older player, and most people are like, I'm not finna try to pay him a whole lot of money to stay around. So for his contract wise, did a great service. We can maybe trade him out, maybe get some nice pieces back or some picks or whatever the case might be, and go ahead and use those picks for the future, and hopefully good picks. You know what I'm saying? First round picks or whatever the case is, or even some seconds in the first, whatever. And then he can go and help on another championship team because I'm sure that's what he really wants to do. Go on and play for a championship. You did it a couple of years in Toronto and did it a few times in San Antonio, but I'm sure he's like, yeah, I want to actually, I want to be in the NBA Finals, go ahead and do some things. And funny enough, he probably would be very useful with the Indiana Pacers in the NBA Finals this year. Just saying, as another third scorer. Mm-hmm. But as a final thoughts on our Kings season, I personally believe we just need to go ahead and blow it up. We just need to go ahead and John Morant that thing, blow it up. We don't need all that. We made the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? It was great, cool, whatever. But we made terrible decisions afterwards, so we couldn't keep that going. So we need to go ahead, start over. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, I don't want to start over," but hey, look, we just gotta be realistic.
And it can happen quickly.
Yeah, and it can turn around.
These teams, you make the right picks, man. It can be quick.
It can. You make the right picks. You put the right team together with the right coach. You can turn a franchise around very quickly. Mm-hmm. But if you keep holding on to lost hope and think like, oh, it's going to work out with these old pieces and we can make it happen, you're going to find out very quickly as everybody else moves forward that you're stuck in the past still. And then once that happens, now you're going to have to be finding yourself trying to dig out the mud of being like, dang, we ain't got nothing else to build upon because we didn't take our opportunity when we had pieces to actually get some pieces back or some assets back. So blow it up. Go ahead and trade DeMontis. You can maybe keep Zach or keep DeMar, trade Zach too.
Right, yeah.
Because he's making $90-something million too.
44. He's making more than Sabonis.
Right.
The second DeMontis goes, I'm letting everybody go.
Yeah, go ahead and let them two up out of there.
Get all I can.
Get as many picks and young players back as possible.
Yep.
And just build. You got to rebuild the draft. You got to be an OKC Thunder.
Yeah.
You got to build through the draft.
76ers.
Yeah. Or the 76ers. Trust the process.
Right.
We're going to have to do the same thing.
Right.
That's really the biggest thing. If we can't make some type of move where we can get into a lottery pick this year by trading DeMontis out or DeMar, I would say just go ahead and trade them away for either 2026 first round picks or whoever, because 2026 is gonna be deep too.
Stacked.
It's gonna be stacked as well. We got AJ coming up, Darren Peterson, who's looking like mini Dwayne Wade. Yeah. Like we can possibly, the Boozer twins are coming up. Yeah. You got some real ballers, and you got a son of Arenas.
Yeah.
You got Gilbert Arenas' son coming in.
And Trevor Arenas' son.
And Trevor Arenas' son. You got Taj. So there's some people that's coming up out of this class killing. So we have opportunities, but we need picks.
And you have your own picks in that year, though. So it's also important if you're going to tank.
Right.
To actually be able to do that.
Yeah. So get away.
Right.
Get everybody away. So we can have we may be able to get some Dallas luck up in here and move from 1.8% to get the first round pick. You never know.
Yep.
But I'm like, we ain't never going to know if we just keep trying to be like, we're going to try to get to the playoffs every year, and we're not really ever going to make a long run. So now you're just in the middle of the pack doing a whole bunch of nothing.
Right.
Like we are this year. So blow it up, start over, gather the assets, make good picks, build around somebody that you can actually do something with, and let's move forward. We can do it, Kings. It's going to be we're going to go through another dark age. It's all right. We survived the last one. Right. We'll survive this one.
Right.
Let's just go ahead and get to it.
Yeah. So, Kings fans, please put in the comments what you think. Let us know what you think about y'all off season. What you think would be the best moves to make. Do you blow it up? You guys think you guys are a couple pieces away from just getting back to where you were? Let us know. And as we said, Arick's going to have y'all covered as we progress through y'all new season, whether you blow it up or not.
Yep.
Okay?
Hey.
Right.
There's definitely some work to do.
Assets are of the highest value, though, in today's NBA. I will say that.
Yes.
For the sake of time, we're going to jump ahead to our MLB update. I do want to say in regards to the NFL, because we always touch a little bit on the Niners and on the Raiders. So for my faithful and for the Raider Nation, just know the Niners added Bryce Huff, which is a dope edge rusher from the Jets, who I think actually was on the Eagles, who we got him from. But his last really good season was on the Jets with Salah. He posted 10-plus sacks. Dude is a beast. He just had a down year last year with the Eagles. Couldn't really find his footing. Excited to have him added on. And then in regard to the Raiders, they added Jermaine Pratt, who is a defensive lineman, formerly from the Cincinnati Bengals. Dude has been a serviceable starter, and you know, with the Raiders always looking to add serviceable starters on defense, he could be a guy that contributes right away. And so, you know, for both of those fan bases, just be on the lookout for those guys. Mm-hmm. Sometimes these late ads in the offseason can be very, very high-impact players come the regular season. So just be on the lookout for those two. And we're going to get you to the MLB update and the NCAA World Series update with Mitch.
What's going on, man? We got the MLB going for you guys. You know, it's a lot of the same old. We go over this a lot. a lot of these teams are just kind of coasting through, but we do have some surprises this season, as the Detroit Tigers are the #1 team in the American League right now, 46-25. Got a lot of guys over there killing it, having rebound seasons. Javi Baez is somebody who's having a great season.
Wow.
Somebody could have been off the team just not too long ago, batting under 200, but now he's out here killing it for them. We got Riley Green, somebody who's been a big prospect for them, finally showing out, leading the team in the batting average, batting 280. Spencer Torkelson, another guy, another big bat from Arizona State that they've had for a while, another big prospect. He's leading the team in home runs with 16, and they got the leading Cy Young candidate in Tarek Skubal on the team. Should have drafted, right? He's killing it, showing why he's a #1 pitcher out there. I really want to highlight some of the new guys who are coming into the league right now, because that will segue into talking about the College World Series, because we've had a lot of guys who played last year in the College World Series that are now about to get their chance in the league or getting their first chances now. First up, we got Jacob Mizorowski from the Brewers, a hard thrower, throws over 100 miles an hour, came in, absolute cannon. Came in through 5 innings in his debut. First pitch was 100 miles per hour, so he's going to be a stud moving forward for them. It's nice to see some of these guys finally getting moved up. Another young guy for the Marlins who was injured, came up last season, but is a young pitcher, huge guy, 6'7", I believe. Yuri Perez.
Oh yeah.
He is back. Didn't have the greatest first start, but is somebody with electric stuff who's looking to be somebody that could be a Cy Young person in the future for them. A couple other names on the batting side. We have Roman Anthony make his debut for the Boston Red Sox. #1 prospect. He's somebody who's going to be big for their rebuild that they're having over there with some of their guys, as well as
Marcelo
Meyer. They have the outfielder. What is his name? Christian.
Oh, I know. I know you're talking about Christian Campbell.
Christian Campbell. So they got a good group of young guys that are now finally making their debuts. As well as for the Royals, another stud, somebody that I wanted the A's to draft was Jack Caglione.
Yeah,
he made his debut. He's somebody who hits the ball so hard and could probably just go out of the whole stadium every time he hits it. It has like 114 mile per hour bat speed or exit velocity with his hitting, so he's going to be an absolute stud. The Royals have really been struggling this season in hitting, so he's somebody who hopefully can revamp them and get them excited moving forward. And then last but not least, I want to shout out Christian Moore. He's on the Angels, a Tennessee grad. He was an absolute stud last year for them in the College World Series and throughout the whole season. Was a top pick for them. He moved up the ranks very fast, and he is now making his debut for the Angels. Second baseman, he's going to be somebody super exciting to see. Could be a big bat in terms of power for them as well. So he's another guy to keep your eye out on. And that just brings me over now to the College World Series that kicked off today. We had Coastal Carolina playing against Arizona today. Coastal Carolina and Arizona were tied up into the late innings. Then Coastal Carolina came through with some big clutch hits, finished them off. And then after that, we had Oregon State and Louisville, another very, very close game. And a team that I think is probably the best bet to win the whole thing in Oregon State. They have the most momentum. They have the most well-rounded team, in my opinion, and they bring the most energy in games. I've been watching in the Super Regionals and the Regionals. If you allow them to stick around, because this game went down to like the 8th inning, I think Oregon State was winning 3-1. Louisville in the top of the 9th or the bottom of the 8th, they scored 2 runs, 3-3, bottom of the 9th. Then Oregon State came through with a big hit, got the win, and that seems to be something that they've been doing throughout the Super Regionals and the Regionals. They played Florida State in the Super Regionals and won the first game like that. They were down the whole entire game, came back in the late innings, and anytime you have a team that's going to play all 9 innings, it's going to be a tough one. It's every at-bat in that 9th inning is going to be a tough one for the opposing pitchers. So those 2 teams were the ones that played today. Tomorrow we got Who we got tomorrow? I just had it right here. We have UCLA and the surprising team of the tournament, Murray State.
Yeah, I saw them get in. I watched that game.
First time ever for their college. They beat Duke, another good team. In the Super Regionals, have a lot of guys who are prospects for the MLB, but Murray State is definitely the most exciting and the biggest underdog in the College World Series, but they're a team to be reckoned with because they really ran through their regional and Super Regionals, and it was unexpected. So make sure you watch that one. That's going to be on 2 p.m. on ESPN tomorrow. And then rounding it out is Arkansas and LSU, two powerhouse teams that are coming in strong. They're going to be playing at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So those are two exciting games for tomorrow. One with a big underdog in Murray State, and then the other Arkansas and LSU with studs that are going to be pitching game one, future potential top picks in the MLB draft. So make sure you guys are checking out the College World Series. It's definitely some of the most exciting baseball that you'll see throughout the whole year. It's probably just as, I equate it just to the same as playoff baseball in the MLB, man. There's nothing more exciting than when the games are on the line and both teams are bringing energy, and all the teams in the tournament right now are high energy teams that are really going to be fighting all the time. So make sure you check it out, as well as the young studs who are making their debuts in the MLB.
Absolutely. As always, like we said, he's going to have you on everything you need with baseball throughout this whole year. So if you're checking either real life or you're looking at your fantasy team, you're going to want to tune in because he'll make sure get you right. And I'll make sure I get us a fantasy segment soon enough so that he can break that down as well, because it'll be good every so often in the season to break down some key ads and some things that are going on with the trends and whatnot of the fantasy season. So be on the lookout for that as well. Before we end today's show, I want to give, because it is that time of the year, there are other finals that we didn't get to, so I just want to say them very quickly, and then maybe on the next show we'll give more detail. Soccer, we had the Champions League final happen. As I told you, I'd have you whenever that was going on, and so here we are. Inter Milan ended up playing PSG. Boy, was it close. 5-0 PSG. No, that's not a baseball score. No, that's not a weird football score. This was soccer, or as some people say over there, football. But this was a complete butt kicking from the beginning to the end. We're talking about a 12-minute goal, and the last goal was in the 86th minute. So just from the front to the back,
start to finish,
a spanking. You had Hakimi get started, who's a right back, but who does play wing back. Then you had Desiree Doué, who's one of the young 20-year-old promising stars who literally is replacing Mbappe almost seamlessly. Scored 2. Right. Well, that's true. He got cooked, but he was a little tired. But 2 goals right there, and then they got Kvaratskhelia. I don't want to kill his name, but y'all know who that is. The dude from Georgia. He scored as well. He came from Napoli. He fit in seamlessly to that team. And really, I'm just so sad Barca didn't get a chance to play them. Again, that's my boys. I'm not going to get too far into it. But Inter, man, they squeaked by us. And when you talk about an offensive showcase, you see what PSG was doing. You see the young talent out there. Everybody wanted to see the other most talented youngsters who are even younger and potentially more talented, at least offensively, go up against that team. So maybe next year. But what a sour way to end the finals. Lots of great games leading up to it, and then you get a 5-0 in the one-off game. Come on, Inter. Get it together. Get it together. But congrats to PSG, all jokes aside. It's just, they never win a lot, so hilarious to see it happen in that fashion because I'm so used to them choking. That gives it easy 5-0.
First time winner? They've won the
Yeah, no, this is their first Champions League. And just to give you guys real context on this, imagine being Kylian Mbappe. Stays the whole time. He gets an offer to leave to Real Madrid 2 years ago. He says no. Real Madrid wins the final. The next year, he comes back with PSG, which was last year. He's like, don't even trip. I've already said I'm going to leave the following year, so I'm going to get this dub with PSG on my way out. They don't get the dub. They get booted. Real goes to the final. They don't win it, but Real advances beyond them. Neither of the teams win it. And then this following year, he does finally go to Real Madrid. Real Madrid gets booted out in the quarters. Real doesn't win La Liga, so he walks away with no trophies this year, and PSG won the big one. Wow.
And mind you, he had Messi and Neymar.
And everybody. He had everybody. And the second he leaves, they get that dub. Interesting. Gotta hurt. Gotta be painful. He's had enough winning, though. He'll be all right. But, don't let that go over your head, okay? NHL, the last thing I'm going to say, Stanley Cup is going on, so a lot of finals are going on right now. I don't watch a lot of NHL. I'm not going to cap you like I do, nor does anybody on this channel. However, I did watch a little bit. It's between
shorts, man.
Right. Macklin, whatever his name is. Anyway.
LA Kings.
Right, but so look, it's tied 2-2 between the Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers, and I will say it is a very physical game. It's fun to watch. I don't know all the rules. I don't know all the ins and outs. But what I can tell you is there's a couple dudes on each team that are absolutely balling. Marchand, I think his name is Marchand, maybe, from Florida, and Sam Bennett. Both those guys are going absolutely crazy. And then on Edmonton, what's the dude's name? I can't believe I'm McDavid. That dude. That's like the LeBron. He might not win it all the time, but boy, you ain't no one-on-one matchup is good for that guy. He's cooking you. So anyway, 2-2 in that, just like the NBA Finals. So if you're looking just for competition, or you are an NHL fan, which I know there are tons out there, we just want to make sure we added that in there. Make sure you check it out. It's good comp. It's good sports, and that's what we like here at Say Something. So thank you again, Arick, for coming. We're going to make sure we get you here. We're going to make sure we get you here several times this year. Again, Kings fans, if there's anything y'all want us to do or see from him in regards to the Sacramento Kings,
let me know.
Or going out to the Sacramento A's games, let us know what's cracking. We might be able to make something happen, okay? Put it in the comments what you think is best. Mitch,
just real quick to his point about this being a crazy, crazy series. There's been 3 of the 4 games have gone to overtimes to settle it out, and the only other game was 6-1 when the Panthers won. But 3 games already in the series, all overtime. That's crazy. 3 or 4. I'm sure the next ones will too. So yeah, make sure you're watching these games because they're going to be knocking some heads off.
Absolutely. Man. And like we said earlier, don't forget to subscribe. Once we get to 50, we can start going live, which will open up events, like we said, going to SAC, going to events out here, different things that we can bring to this channel for y'all. So please flood the comments with whatever y'all think we should have for next week and what we could have done better this week. And we'll see y'all then. Peace, love, and happiness.
Peace, y'all.